Welcome back to Faith is the Podcast. One of the greatest gifts we receive through faith is the promise of salvation through Jesus Christ. It's a gift freely given. But, have you ever thought about what we can do with that gift? How can we use our talents and abilities to build something meaningful? Today, we're going to dive into a fascinating topic, the business plan of King Solomon, and explore how his approach thousands of years ago can offer some surprising insights for us today. We'll be looking at a talk by speaker and author Myron Golden, who finds some amazing connections between biblical principles and modern business.
It's true. What's fascinating about Golden's perspective is that he draws from a unique source, a YouTube talk he gave at Church LV. It might not be the first place you'd think to look for business advice, but that's part of what makes this so intriguing.
Okay, so before we get into Solomon's plan, tell me more about Myron Golden. Who is he and what makes his perspective so unique?
Well, Myron Golden is a successful entrepreneur, author, and speaker. But his journey to success wasn't a straight line. He actually faced some significant financial struggles even after achieving a certain level of success. He openly talks about hitting rock bottom, which I think makes his story even more relatable.
I can see why that would resonate with people. It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all figured out can face setbacks. So what was his turning point? What helped him overcome those challenges?
Golden points to the moment he discovered what he calls Solomon's business model in the Bible. This realization was pivotal for him. He understood that he could learn from those who had already achieved success, like King Solomon, and apply those principles to his own life.
So instead of reinventing the wheel, he looked to the past for guidance. That's a powerful concept, finding inspiration and wisdom in ancient teachings. It makes you wonder what kind of business plan King Solomon could have had that would still be relevant today. So what are the key points of this model?
Golden breaks down Solomon's approach into three core elements. The first is that Solomon was a consultant to his contemporaries, meaning he was sought out by other kings and queens for advice and guidance.
So he was like a mentor or advisor to other leaders. I'm curious, what kind of evidence is there that Solomon actually acted as a consultant to other rulers?
There's a compelling example in the story of the Queen of Sheba. She traveled a great distance, bringing immense wealth, just to seek Solomon's wisdom. She ended up paying him the equivalent of $388 million in today's currency for a single consultation.
Wow, that's a serious investment.
Yep.
But it speaks volumes about the value that people place on expertise and guidance. I think we can all relate to that, whether it's seeking advice from a mentor in our field or even just asking a friend for their perspective on a personal matter. So how does this idea of consulting relate to us in a practical sense?
Think of it this way. You are the king or queen of your own life, your own kingdom, so to speak. And just like those ancient rulers, you can benefit immensely from seeking guidance from experienced mentors who can help you navigate challenges and achieve your goals more effectively.
So finding a mentor is like having a wise counselor by your side, helping you make better decisions and reach your full potential. It's a reminder that we don't have to go it alone. There's wisdom in seeking advice from those who have walked the path before us. What's the second point of Solomon's business plan?
The second element is all about expanding your reach. Solomon realized he couldn't personally mentor everyone who sought his wisdom, so he began holding seminars to share his knowledge with larger groups. Think about it. He wrote 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs. That's a lot of content. It's a testament to his commitment to disseminating wisdom.
That is impressive. And in today's digital age, where we have so many platforms to share our thoughts and ideas, it's even more relevant. It makes me wonder, if Solomon had a social media account, what kind of content would he be posting?
It's a fun thought experiment. Golden points out that Solomon was a master at using simple everyday things, trees, animals, even insects, to teach profound lessons. Imagine the kind of engaging, thought-provoking content he could create from those observations. He could have a whole series on Instagram called Wisdom from the Anthill or something.
That's hilarious. But it also highlights an important point. We can find inspiration and valuable lessons everywhere, even in the seemingly mundane aspects of our daily lives. Maybe there's a hidden message in that traffic jam you're stuck in, or that pile of laundry you've been avoiding. Solomon's approach encourages us to look deeper and find those unexpected nuggets of wisdom. Is there anything else that stands out about Solomon's approach to teaching?
Golden highlights an interesting detail. Solomon actually charged for his seminars. This challenges the modern notion that valuable knowledge should always be free.
That's a thought-provoking point. I think many people struggle with the idea of charging for their knowledge or skills, but Solomon's example, especially considering his reputation for wisdom and generosity, suggests that there's a balance to be struck between sharing freely and recognizing the value of our expertise.
It makes you wonder if maybe we sometimes undervalue our own knowledge and the effort we put into acquiring it. Creating valuable content, whether it's a seminar, a course, or even just a helpful blog post, takes time, energy, and skill. It's okay to acknowledge that value and seek fair compensation for our efforts.
So Solomon was a consultant to individual leaders and shared his wisdom with larger audiences through paid seminars. What is the third element of his business model? This is where it gets interesting.
This is where Solomon's genius really shines through. He understood the importance of what Golden calls continuity cash flow. In other words, creating recurring revenue streams.
Like subscriptions or memberships. That's a concept that's everywhere today, but it's remarkable to think that Solomon was implementing it thousands of years ago. What did that look like in his time?
We don't have all the details, of course, but Golden suggests that Solomon likely charged an annual fee for ongoing access to his wisdom and counsel. It's like having a retainer for a wise advisor, ensuring you have that guidance and support available whenever you need it.
That's an interesting parallel. And it's a model that many businesses use successfully today, from subscription boxes to streaming services to coaching programs. It's about creating a sustainable income stream by providing ongoing value that people are willing to pay for over time.
We'll be back after a quick word from our sponsor. Did you know that you can reach targeted local customers for less than the cost of brewing a pot of coffee? Business Referred can help you get your business in front of the right audience today. Reach out to info@businessreferred.com for more information. So Solomon was a consultant to individual leaders and also shared his wisdom with larger audiences through these paid seminars. What is the third element of his business model?
This is where Solomon's genius really shines through. He understood the importance of what Golden calls continuity cash flow. In other words, creating recurring revenue streams, like subscriptions or memberships. That's a concept that's everywhere today. But it's remarkable to think that Solomon was implementing this thousands of years ago. What did that look like in his time?
Well, we don't have all the details, of course, but Golden suggests that Solomon likely charged an annual fee for ongoing access to his wisdom and counsel. It's like having a retainer for a wise advisor, ensuring you have that guidance and support available whenever you need it.
That's an interesting parallel. And it's a model that many businesses use successfully today, from subscription boxes to streaming services to coaching programs. It's about creating a sustainable income stream by providing ongoing value that people are willing to pay for over time.
Mhm.
And what strikes me as particularly powerful is how Golden connects these business principles to a deeper sense of purpose. He emphasizes that God has given each of us a unique kingdom to build, so to speak.
It is.
I love that imagery. It's so much bigger than just a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It encompasses our work, our relationships, our passions, our impact on the world. So how does Solomon's model help us build our own kingdoms?
Golden's central message is that true success doesn't come from chasing money or fame, but from aligning ourselves with God's purpose for our lives. When we do that, he argues, the material blessings naturally follow.
So it's not about getting rich quick, but about finding that sweet spot where our passions and talents intersect with a genuine need in the world.
Exactly. And it all starts with seeking God's wisdom and guidance, just like Solomon prayed for an understanding heart to lead his people. We should approach our endeavors with the same humility and desire for direction.
That takes us back to the core values of faith that we talked about at the beginning. It's about trusting in God's plan and seeking his wisdom to guide our steps. So how can we apply this to our own kingdom building, whether it's a business, a creative project, or even just our personal growth?
One of the most important takeaways is to identify your unique kingdom. What are you passionate about? What skills and talents has God given you? And how can you use those gifts to serve others and make a difference? Maybe you're already doing it, or maybe it's a new path you're exploring.
And Golden's example reminds us that it's never too late to discover that purpose and start building something meaningful. But even when we have a vision, we may not have all the answers. It can feel overwhelming. What advice does Golden give for navigating those moments of uncertainty?
He emphasizes the importance of seeking mentorship, which brings us back to the first point of Solomon's model. Think of all the wisdom and experience we can gain from those who have gone before us, who have navigated similar challenges and achieved success in their fields.
So finding a good mentor is like having a shortcut to success. They can help us avoid costly mistakes, accelerate our progress, and unlock our full potential. But finding the right mentor can be a challenge in itself. Any tips on how to go about that?
Golden suggests looking for people who embody the values and qualities you admire, those who have achieved the kind of success you aspire to. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for guidance. You might be surprised at how willing people are to share their knowledge and experience.
I love that. And perhaps someday we can be those mentors, paying it forward by guiding others on their journeys. That's a beautiful cycle of giving back. Golden's story is a great example of that. We heard about how he helped Omar achieve significant financial growth, which enabled Omar to, in turn, give back to his community.
Golden's approach to content creation is another example of his commitment to serving others. He generously shares valuable information on social media, viewing it as a form of community service.
That's amazing. He calls it community service content because he genuinely wants to help people, even those who may never become paying clients. It's about adding value to the world, not just focusing on profits.
And that generosity of spirit, that willingness to share his knowledge and insights freely is what draws people to him. It creates a sense of trust and authenticity.
It's like a magnet. People are naturally drawn to those who offer genuine value and help without expecting anything in return.
That's a great lesson for all of us, no matter what we're striving to achieve. Whether we're building a business, pursuing a creative passion, or simply trying to live a more fulfilling life, focusing on serving others is a key ingredient for success.
So if we zoom out and look at the big picture, what are some practical takeaways our listeners can apply to their own lives? How can they take these ancient principles and make them actionable?
Well, first and foremost, remember that building your kingdom isn't just about outward success. It's about aligning your actions with your values, seeking God's guidance, and using your gifts to make a positive impact. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion meets a real need in the world.
And don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Whether it's through books, courses, coaching programs, or simply spending time with wise mentors, make your personal and professional growth a priority.
Absolutely. And remember that consistent content creation is a powerful way to share your knowledge, build your kingdom, and reach a wider audience. Find a platform that resonates with you and start sharing your message. You never know who you might inspire.
And don't forget, you have something valuable to offer. Don't be afraid to charge for your expertise and create sustainable income streams through products, services, or experiences that provide genuine value.
This deep dive into Solomon's business plan has been fascinating. Who would have thought that we could find such relevant advice in ancient scriptures?
It's truly remarkable how timeless these principles are. And it just goes to show that God's wisdom applies to every aspect of our lives, including our work and finances. But there's one more element of Solomon's approach that I think is worth highlighting. We talked about how he used everyday objects to teach profound lessons. Golden calls this finding uncommon lessons from common things. What does he mean by that?
Golden points out that Solomon had a remarkable ability to find deep meaning and wisdom in the ordinary, even in things that most people overlooked. He saw connections and patterns that others missed.
So it's about training ourselves to see the world through a different lens, to look for the hidden messages and insights that are all around us.
Exactly. And I think that's a beautiful challenge for all of us as you go about your day. Pay attention to the seemingly mundane things, the way a flower grows, the patterns in the clouds, the interactions between people. What uncommon lessons can you glean from these common experiences? How can you apply those insights to your work, your relationships, or your personal growth?
That's a powerful thought to leave our listeners with, to keep our minds open to the wisdom that's all around us and to see the extraordinary in the ordinary.
It's been a pleasure exploring these timeless principles with you.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Solomon's business plan. It's remarkable how those ancient principles still resonate so powerfully today.
I completely agree. And what's so inspiring about Solomon's story is that he wasn't perfect. He faced challenges, made mistakes, but he never stopped seeking to learn and grow.
It's reassuring to remember that we don't have to be perfect to achieve great things. We're all human on a journey of growth and discovery. What matters most is our willingness to learn, to seek guidance, and to use our gifts to serve others.
And that brings us back to Golden's central message, the idea of finding your unique kingdom. What impact do you want to make on the world? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Those are powerful questions for us to consider. What fires you up? What are you naturally good at? How can you use those passions and talents to make a difference?
It might be something you're already doing, or it might be a completely new path that you're just beginning to explore. The important thing is to keep seeking, keep growing, and keep asking those questions.
And to remember that it's not about chasing money or fame, but about finding that sweet spot where your passion intersects with a genuine need in the world. When you're aligned with your purpose, the abundance will follow.
Absolutely. And don't forget the importance of community. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support you on your journey. Find your tribe, those who share your values and aspirations.